We were talking about hip hop, and Jay-Z was saying, I'm from the tree of Coogee rap. Like, I come from Coogee rap, there's a tree of rappers, LL and Coogee rap, that was my, like, Rakim was more like, meaning how they did it, I loved it, I liked it, it influenced me, and I took it and made it my way. Sure. It's just like in football, there's coaching trees. Like, Belichick has a tree of guys. None of them have been particularly
There's a difference between a tree and sampling, though. He like Cat was talking about sampling. He was saying like, and I'm not a comedian. Let me just say this: I don't want no beef with none of the comedians. That's the last thing I want. Okay, I just want to be clear about that. Don't jump on my, because I don't want no problem. I don't want no problem.
They already gorged you about you licking your lips.
Yeah, well,
and you dropped your chap.
Well, it is what it is.
They like to lick chaps.
That ain't never gonna stop. Yo, that ain't never gonna stop. That ain't never gonna stop.
They would get you a whole roast for that. And of course, there's so much material.
There's so much.
You're giving them all the material. You gave them so much material. The second someone picks up on what I'm doing, I'm gonna switch it up.
Everybody's not gonna be a fan of everybody. I can't, that ain't my job.
I'm a stand-up comic. This is what I do.
You never really know how tough you are till you gotta be.
The gimmick of that I sound this way, but I look this way.
Here we go, season 7. But as they say, time flies when you're having fun, and time has went fast.
I always say this, we're lucky to have these jobs where we get to sit with incredible people that in all cases we're fans of, but we also learn a lot while we're here, right?
Yeah. Here's to more great conversations, great moments, and of course, great style.
Always great style.
Here's to season 7.
Cheers.
Cheers. I do not believe that.
On the weekend.
No way.
Yes.
Because you're a writer. Writers never stop.
That's true.
You always, even in your head, right?
Everything is copy.
Everything.
Everything is copy.
That you set time aside to write, or it's just an ongoing?
You have to. Like today, when I have to leave, I have to go to my office and figure out, you get these scripts, you've been had so many great scripts, but it's like, we have to figure out what is every scene, and then I can start writing. Cause like with The Chi, like I knew the first scene was gonna be a dead body and a young man coming up to it and having a conversation with him.
Oh, so you figure out the scenes and the story arc and everything, lay all of that out, and then you write it. And then it's like Stallone, kind of like what Stallone does. Do you say the words out loud so it's on his feet? So that, because sometimes what you do this on.
See, that's the benefit of me having
that's a great point. When you type in, when you say it, it can
very
feel
different.
But that's the thing, every writer should take acting classes.
Yeah.
So that way we know, because that's like, I've had to act. I've been in front of the camera, so I know what it's like to have to deliver lines. Yeah. So what I have to do when I'm writing is like, I say it out loud. I want it to be super conversational.
Right.
Like, it's like, the reason why we love Any Given Sunday, we can watch it any day of the week.
Right.
Because the conversation, it feels grand and big. It's like, you guys are our gladiators. So it's like, if you watch Any Given Sunday, watch Gladiator after that and see the similarities.
Right.
Like, these are the cats that could go into the ring and we the spectators. What is the difference between a spectator and a peasant?
A lot of times, a writer, if they're not careful, all of the characters can have a similar voice, and sometimes writers, especially the ones that are a little bit more, that err on the more academic side, make everything, like the word is pedantic, or make everything so intricate and you could be smart and be simple.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're smart and complicated, and all characters aren't like that. Some are, but you have to be able to differentiate between them in order to really bring the story to life so that the actors can really embody it. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, yes.
Yeah.
And because smart people sometimes have trouble. To me, that is the highest form of smarts, when you can take something so complicated
and make it simple.
And make it,
go through the complexity
and make everybody
to make it simple, like X and O's.
Like X and O's.
Getting through the complicated play to the, look, hit your spot, this is the spot, this is where you gotta be at this point in the game. Like, that's the discipline of the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's how you win.
Yeah, for sure. Do y'all got that with Kyle? Because he always seemed everybody say he's like probably the smartest coach in the NFL, and he's got all those sheets, and it looks like what he's doing is very complicated. But to y'all, do he communicate it straightforward and easy to y'all?
Nah, that's complicated. It's complicated, and the reason why the scripts are so big because our plays are extremely long. That's why you see the wristband, because it takes too long to call it into the headset. So you just call a number. Quarterback literally is like reading a book. But
Is the plays really long?
they are very long, but they simplicity too, because it just tells everybody what they're supposed to do.
So that's actually something I want to ask you. In the huddle, what are you listening? What are you, Trent, listening for in the call? Because it's a long call.
Right.
What are you listening for?
Just like a pass play, I'm listening for the protection. He might say 3-jet, XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. I'm leaving the huddle as soon as I hear 3-jet.
That's your protection.
Yeah, that's my, and it's,
What the receivers gotta do? They
they don't got nothing to do with me. That's why they don't know the protection. You know what I'm saying? They hear they routes and they gone.
And when you break the huddle, everybody obviously knows the quarterback. What are you as a lineman looking for? You break the huddle.
We talked to Sauce Gardner and Ocho about like as a receiver and corners, and Sauce was like he don't really even go to the huddle. He come out, he looked directly at the receiver's feet, study the guy, try and get a read on what route he gonna run.
Right. So it's like when you got a pass protection, there's two sides, right? Because we got 5 people. So 3 got to go one way, 2 got to go the other way. The 2 are the man, what we call man side. So that means I'm mano a mano, he mano a mano. On that side, they're in what we call a slide. So everybody has the gap over. So if he came off the edge, I'm responsible for him, and my guard got to take mine, and then we pass it down.
Good. I was worried I had him, so I'm glad.
Let Trent take him, B. You get the hell out the way.
Exactly. So, it's for me. It's if I get a man side, then yeah, I'm looking at the DN. I get the snap count. I hear the protection. Now I'm studying him. Now his alignment is going to tell me a lot of what's coming next. And if I look, you see the safety, that the safeties are wandering around over here. That means that they probably replacing somebody that's coming over here. So I got to know that, even if I'm not blocking him, because that's going to change his job. So if I know his job before the play snap, it puts me as an advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, have you've been studying him all week?
Been studying him all week.
So you know if he line a little bit this way, a little bit this way, it's something different.
Can I ask, you see as an athlete, how much of it is like technical, where you have to read plays, and how much of it do you feel like is talent?
Or instincts?
Yeah, because there must be times where you want to break out and do your own thing, although you have to follow the script.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so like the defensive side is a lot off of see ball, get ball. You got concepts, but most of it is all going to revolve around who got the ball, where guys running. The offensive side, it's all about X's and O's and staying within the system, because the wide receiver might feel like he can get a dude a little extra at the top of the route, but that little half a second makes a quarterback hold on to the ball for a half a second. Now that DN is slapping the ball out right as he's throwing it. You get what I'm saying? So as a wide receiver, you got to be disciplined and know, I know I can be on Instagram by making this guy fall and we'll have highlights, but what does that do for the rest of the chain link? Is that gonna help us or is it gonna hurt us? And that's what Cal thing is that everything is about timing, everything is about scheme.
But it must be a little bit like that making shows too, or for sure as an actor, like once the whole cast is gelling and rolling, but if you got 1 or 2 people off, it up the whole, I imagine it can up the whole flow.
Yeah, it's so interesting because even like hearing you talk about it's almost even using the term scripts, you know what I'm saying, and memorizing, there's so many similarities between, what we're doing. But it's funny because I often use sports analogies when I'm talking about writing or careers and things like that, because it actually kind of fits with each other. Like we are a team. Like when it's like teamsters. Like even
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork
right?
makes the dream work, and so it's like, but then there are people that are in front, there are people that are behind the scenes, and you need everybody to be on the same page. And you're right, I think, but just like any team, you have a veteran who's been on the team for a long time, then you have a rookie that comes in. So that's not unlike on TV shows. Like you'll be on the show for like a bunch of seasons, and then I'll add new characters. Because what does it do? It brings in new blood and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we've tried to do, especially on The Chi, is to have like new people every season, because it keeps the people that have been on the show from day one kind of sort of never getting complacent. And so I think that's sort of what it is.
Or jaded.
Jaded, and it's easy to do, you know? It's like whether being in the league or being in the business, because like you spend your whole life trying to get into the game and you finally get in there and you realize, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But it's an amazing life. Like we've led great lives because we were able to tap into this gift that was sort of given to us, but we were able to sacrifice and make sure we didn't take that gift for granted. But in not taking it for granted, there's a lot of sacrifices that come with that.
Do you have to often tell yourself that you're not lucky as well? Because I think for me being a comic, like you often feel that like I meet a lot of comics and they say you're only as good as your last show. And that makes you feel lucky sometimes. You know, if you have a big achievement where, you know, you might have won something or you have something that works well and you think, oh, maybe this happened. But I think it's really important to tell yourself, well, I'm not lucky. I'm not just stumbled upon this. I've worked at the craft.
You can be blessed, you work hard, you put the energy in, right? Because your attitude determines your altitude. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, you know, in order to be successful for a long time, you can't, it's a few things. One, it means you ain't lazy, right? Then the other thing is, you know, you have some people who, they're successful, but they're over it. It's like, oh, they just can't wait to get off practice or get out of here. Everything's about what I gotta do over there. But then they, at the same time, they're kicking and screaming against the things that they claim they want with that attitude. You see what I'm saying? And that has a lot to do with like vets and rookies, because you got some vets that are over it. And then you have some vets that treat it like they've been rookies forever. Like, you know, that was the thing like me when I would see Ray Lewis, like every time I talk to him, I feel like I'm talking to a guy who just started. Like every time I talk to him. And you know, to me, that is a huge part of long-term success. Like like decades, as opposed to like, you know, 10 years and you know, what happened.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You are the poster child for decades of long-term success,
like,
right?
You reinvented yourself like so many times and had so many different, like I remember In the House, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I was having dinner with Debbie Allen and I talked to her about that. I was like, that's so, because obviously I love Debbie Allen, obviously that's my North Star, but I remember that show, like you guys living under the same roof and with her kids and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, but that's just, that's a chapter in a very long, beautiful career. So it's like, so can you speak to what it's been like to begin so young? And people maybe kind of go, is he gonna be a fad? He's gonna still be around. So how are you able to fit into all these spaces and none of it feel weird or odd or foreign?
Well, there's a few things, right? First of all, God is great. You know what I'm saying? I have faith in God and I got faith in myself. Secondly, you know, when we started Def Jam, I was 16. You see what I'm saying? So I put my first album out when I was 16, right? So the thing that you realize is that you're gonna make mistakes. So one of the things that I had to learn, because I'm actually an introvert. Like most people wouldn't assume that. Most people would think I'm an extrovert.
Assume that.
But I'm an introvert, right? So growing up, when I was first starting, I didn't really know how to go to parties and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't really know how to be sociable with people and go play at poker games with people and, you know what I'm saying, be friendly. It wasn't that I wasn't willing to be friendly. It's just that, you know, that's just my nature. You know what I'm saying? So you learn after a while how to actually embrace people and you realize that you're gonna spend your life looking at different people, and these people that you think you're just passing by are actually the story of your life.
I don't know, what keeps you motivated, passionate about the music after all of the success you've had? You have an album coming out,
I got
right?
an album coming out.
So wait, and what was your last one?
It was 1,000 years ago, and it wasn't. It was 1,000 years ago, and it, you know, I made it in a vacuum, and it really wasn't that impactful. You know, I like the challenge. You know what I'm saying? I think that hip hop hasn't really had a Santana moment. I think that we're so used to things coming and going that we don't even understand the idea of an artist being out for 30, 40 years and making great, like we don't even think in those terms.
The art form's not old enough to figure
That's what I'm saying. So we're not used to it, right? So
we don't have a Rolling Stones yet.
Yet, right? So that, you know, and we're at this place where it's like, I believe personally that, you know, you can make an artistic contribution throughout your career. You just got to be able to step up and actually do it. Because a lot of people, they talk about it, but then they can't get it done.
Can't deliver on
you know,
it.
that's why I'm making it, because I just love the challenge. I love the idea.
Have you been thinking about making it for a long time? Or did
Yeah,
it just
I've
like
been-
last
I've
year you were like, I'm gonna do it?
No, I was thinking about it, and then, you know, actually, the way I came out with my album, I'll give you the real story. The story is I had got with Dre, right? Me and Dre was working in the studio, and we did like 30, 40 songs, and, you know, but it just wasn't all the way right. His beats were pristine, they were amazing, but I didn't feel like my writing was really up to par. So I took a step back, and then I had a dream. Fife Dog from A Tribe Called Quest, the great legendary group, amazing group, Tribe Called Quest. The kid, Fife Dog, he passed away. May he rest in peace. He came to me in a dream. He's like, yo, that music you making with Dre is gonna be dope. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, it's gonna. But he had this funny look on his face, and I remember like not understanding the look. So when I woke up, I called Q-Tip. You know what I'm saying? Q-Tip, and I called Q-Tip. I'm like, yo, Tip. He like, what's up? I'm like, I said, yo, let's work. I want to make an album. He said, well, what kind of album you want to make? I said, I don't know. I want some hot sauce, barbecue sauce, pickle juice. You know, I wanted as fired as it possibly can be. Like, I just want the blackest, red, black, and green Marcus Garvey you could ever come up with Nigerian DNA baked in it. I want that all the way black, right? And he's like, all right, say less, let's do it. So I went to his crib, and, you know, we ended up working on the album. So now it's complete. And it's,
So he produced the whole album?
Yeah, Q-Tip did my whole album.
What?
Yeah, it's, you know, and it's fun because it's a challenge, right? Because it could go one or two ways. It could either be amazing or it could be 3 days of fire emojis from 10 people. You know what I mean? You know, these dudes be on there, yo, the album is out. You get 3 days of fire emojis, that's a wrap. It's a risen. It's out of here. Is over. So it's like, you know, that's the fun part for me, you know?
To your point, I like that part that like, so I'm 42, so I grew up with, like all of us, with hip hop, but like, I'm Bad was the first, we had the record player
a long time
at the
ago.
bottom of the wicker stand. Every Saturday, my mom, we'd clean up, she got a whole album, usually be Anita Baker, Rapture. I got one song. She would get the whole album, I would get one song. Right. And my song was I'm Bad, so I've grown up with you, everybody. And like, you know, it's weird, it's not weird, it's interesting to see this moment we're in hip hop because hip hop has now become the biggest art form in the music genre. But then you have like the people we grew up with, like Nas went on this run where he made like 6 albums or something between, you know, 45 and 50 years old. He made the final one when he was 50. And then Andre put out his version of what he thought and didn't want to rap. And like, it's like, some people feel like rap is and hip hop is this young person's game, and it's not for me if I'm older. And were you at all thinking about that? Or you like, I'm gonna make how
I don't even really understand that. I mean, how old was Picasso when he did his greatest work? Like, I don't even know what that means. I mean, who came up with that rule?
There is no rule.
Like, no, but I'm just
Rolling Stone's still on tour.
Dude,
right now.
like,
They're 80s,
I don't really understand it. It's, you know, there is a difference between art and sports. Sports, there is a physical limitation on certain things. It just is what it is. You have freaks of nature like your man who can extend it. You know what I'm saying? But even at that, it probably won't do it when he's 50. Probably could.
I know, he's like, hold on. Don't.
But I'm saying, like, it's like, with the arts, it's about, is your mind fluid? Are you like, or has it been crystallized? You know what I'm saying? Calcified. Like, are you interested in life? You know what I'm saying? What happens, the reason why people can't keep making music is because they ain't interested in none. They think they know every goddamn thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then they start, like, all that woe is me. Well, when you was 14, you wasn't rapping about, you know, the pubescent growth spurts. So why you have to get older and talk about prostate? Like, there are other things to talk about besides your doctor's appointment, bro. Like, I love you, but what the f are you talking about? Like, I love him. That's my man. He's super talented.
Yeah.
What's he talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you can do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of the great, I'm talking about, Andre's one of the greatest rappers ever. Like, I think he's amazing, but I disagree with that. Like, with all due respect, and I ain't, you know, and this is viral now, we're viral. But I'm just saying, with all due respect, I disagree with that because I think that he has it in him. You know what I'm saying? So me, I just want to show people that it's possible. I want to show you that it's possible, and the only way to show you is to do it.
Do you feel you get your credit in the game? Do you, like, in your standing? Do you care?
I mean, dude, I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I got 10 platinum albums, Grammys. I mean, yeah, I get my props, bro. You know what I mean? I got Kennedy Center Honors. Yeah, I think I get my props. Listen, man, everybody's not gonna be a fan of everybody. I can't, you know, that ain't my job.
I love that perspective.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yes, I feel completely respected.
I love that.
Completely. I feel beloved. I feel like the man.
I love that.
Mo,
You know what I mean?
On the topic of writing, I think it's very interesting because you're a comic, so you write alone. Do you have people who help you write? You write alone?
It's weird because as a comic, I don't want to write alone because I feel like it can, like if I'm writing, my whole thing is I have to write to make someone laugh. So I've got to tap into someone's personality, what makes them laugh. And you got to remember, like, laughter, humor is subjective. So this is just my point of view of what I find funny. Do you know what I mean?
That was funny. I don't
So,
know.
so like, it's hard writing because I'm writing it like this is funny.
Right.
But if I have outside influence as I'm writing it, someone might say, oh yeah, but that bit's funny. But I'm like, no, let's just go with this.
So Mo, I don't know if the comedic, chaotic landscape has made it across the pond, the whole stealing jokes thing, the Cat Williams, all that.
Yeah, we see it. Like, we see it at the same time, but again, it's like, for me, as a conversation to be in, like, these are my heroes, you know what I mean? Like, I'm watching, like, my favorite comics, and I'm like, I have no say in this. Don't get me wrong, it happens in comedy.
Oh, yeah.
But it's up to you you can either ring a man up and say, hey, listen, heard you done my joke. Or, again, I'm one of those people, if I hear something that's a bit similar, I'm like, the people that watch my stuff know.
Like of course, in art and sports, things get copied and changed and you make it your way. It's like I was telling people, I was talking to, not even about this topic, but just about like life, and it comes to football too. We were talking about hip hop, and Jay-Z was saying, I'm from the tree of Coogee rap. Like I come from Coogee rap, there's a tree of rappers, LL and Coogee rap, that was my, like Rakim was more like meaning, how they did it, I loved it, I liked it, it influenced me, and I took it and made it my way. Sure. It's just like in football, there's coaching trees. Like Belichick has a tree of guys. None of them have been
There's
particularly
a difference
successful.
between a tree and sampling, though. He was like, Cat was talking about sampling. He was saying, like, and
It's
no,
nothing
I'm not
wrong
a
with
comedian. Let me just say this, I don't want no beef with none of the comedians. That's the last thing I want. Okay, I just want to be clear about that. Don't jump on my, I don't want no problem. I don't want no problem.
They already go at you about you licking your lips.
Yeah, well,
and you dropped your chap.
Well, it is what it is.
They like
That
to
ain't-
get chapstick.
that ain't never gonna stop. That ain't never gonna stop. That ain't never gonna stop.
They would get you
But
a
what I'm
whole
saying
roast
is-
for that. And of course,
Right.
there's so much material.
There's so much.
You're giving them all the material. You gave them so much material just now. They're like, they'll run this back.
Yo, it's bananas.
gonna be a
wow.
meme.
Guys are, like Mike McDaniel is very successful in Miami. He runs the motion with the pitching. That's all from Kyle's. He might have added some tricks and he got Tyreek.
Yeah.
So he do some things different, but it's a version of y'all. I don't know if you watch the Dolphins, but
yeah.
it's a version of y'all offense, right?
For sure. But what people don't really see is that Mike has been with Kyle for, when I got in the NFL, Mike was pushing paper and helping him draw the cards and stuff. And behind the scenes, like, he really was a real asset to Kyle. Like, he learned a ton from Kyle, and they bounced ideas off of each other, and they, but he was a real asset. They was an asset to each other.
For sure, yeah.
And I think also we're kind of all derivative.
That's
of
my
someone
point.
Else.
Yeah, that's what it
it's
says.
like we don't get Kobe and LeBron without Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
course.
Like we see the influence, literally. The great artists are always switching up their style. So it's like the second someone picks up on what I'm doing, I'm gonna switch it up. And then
That's
continue to
powerful,
switch it
though.
up.
Don't rub, don't, like, stay on that a minute. That's amazing. Speak
And
on
are
that.
you
Well, I
doing
mean,
it on purpose? Meaning, because you feel like, are you tired of it, or you just want something new?
I mean, honestly, I never want to repeat myself. But also I'm growing as an artist. So it's like, I'm not gonna do Queen and Slim again. I've done that. That's where I was at that time. Then the next thing after that was Beauty. It was a smaller film that wasn't theatrical, but was on Netflix. And it was different than that film, and sort of like, or The Shy came first, but then 20s came after that. And so the hope is people see me evolving as an artist, because hopefully we're all evolving as people. So as you continue to move forward, different things inspire you. Like, I think you might have been more intrigued by the actor world, being an actor. Like, that was exciting, that was interesting for you, but also for us as audiences. And so, but then you're like, okay, well, let me go back and give you some music too. You know what I'm saying? Like, Will Smith did a similar thing. So it's about, sometimes something is just more fascinating to an artist. Like even Andre 3000, like, yes, do we want him to do a rap album? Sure, but he's like, I'm on this flute game, y'all. Like, this is my jam right now. I'm super into this. And so it's like, okay, cool, we'll take that. And
Yeah,
so
I need him to spit though.
Yeah,
I need him to spit, man.
I want to hear you spit too.
Flutes, man, come on, bro.
But y'all,
come on,
go
bro.
through phases.
Listen.
Like,
I want to hear him
like,
spit too.
He is.
I want him to
look,
spit.
Look, I'm gonna be very, because the comments gonna be crazy. He's amazing. All right, his
Yeah.
bars is all the way up. I'm very
insane,
clear.
yeah.
Not the flute, B.
Yeah.
Not the flute.
I want to
I
hear him
like
spit.
the album,
Don't do
though.
the flute.
I like the album.
I want to hear him
That's
spit.
the
It's very
flute.
calming.
Listen,
I was
not
like,
the flute.
I was
Not the
sipping
flute.
tea.
Let's
I
not
was,
lie to ourselves.
like,
I don't want to hear him do the
calm.
flute.
It was
You want to hear me
vibey.
do a violin? You might not want to hear me do.
I wanna
But
hear
do you
you
want to
do-
hear me do a violin album?
Whatever you want to do.
LL got the violin.
Yo, Latifah did a jazz album.
I've been working on it for 7 years.
Latifah did a jazz album. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
violin.
I
people,
love him. I
We
love
wanna-
him.
let me
Listen,
say- we wanted
Dre's
words.
bars.
You
I
know
just
what?
want to hear. I want
We
him to
wanted
get with Big
words.
Boy. I want him to get with Big Boy. I want them to make an Outkast or do a solo album.
Well, look, I
Every
think
time he
Big
does
Boy
a
ready.
fucking one verse, it's
amazing.
enough material for an album. He's so gifted, right?
Right.
So it's like, come on, B, like not the flute.
I wanna hear
like,
words.
We're not gonna lie. Like, don't get that man
I
needs to
like-
know the truth. He needs to know the truth.
Yo, I like the album.
Nobody wants.
I
You like the album?
I did.
What's your favorite song?
I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to say
Here's
that.
the deal.
The one with the
titles,
flute?
The titles,
Come on, B.
the titles of the songs are actually quite lit. I don't
Oh,
wanna,
great.
I don't want to. I don't
Write
want
some raps
I
to
don't.
them.
I don't. I don't want
Like,
to.
yo.
I don't want to misquote none of these
I
bomb
love. Listen, I love him.
titles.
He's
His
supremely
titles of the
talented.
songs are
I
lit.
want to be clear about this.
Okay.
Like, he's supremely talented. So
He's
you know,
one
I
of the
love him.
goats. He's on the Mount Rushmore.
Not the
He's
flute,
dope.
bro. Like.
Flute. Musical artists go through phases where sometimes they give us albums where we're like, okay, is this where
Oh,
you
no.
at? You know what I'm saying?
We all make bad albums. Don't get me wrong. I made bad albums, but I also have some crazy too. But I made bad that people didn't respond to because that's where I was at.
But at
I
the
get
time,
that.
you thought it was good.
Not always.
Really? You put music out?
Not always, because but I'm a little bit of a weirdo though, B. Like,
really?
yeah, because I sometimes I make records in a vacuum just because it's for me, and then sometimes I make albums for the culture. I'm very different in that regard, so you can't really gauge my albums like that, because I don't make all my records for the culture, and maybe that's what Andre was doing with the flute thing. You know what I mean? So I can understand it from that point of view. He just expressed it differently, so I guess I can get it. But sometimes it's like the Prince records in the vault, and you just put them out, and then sometimes it's the thing that you feel the culture, it can touch the culture. So they're very different approaches. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
What's
it's
this
like,
one going to be, Al?
The difference is that,
No, what's this one that you're about to put out?
it's for the culture.
It's for the culture.
No, it's for the culture.
I love it.
I haven't done an album for the culture in many
Is there gonna be a
years.
flute cameo?
It's
on the
all
album?
flutes. It's all my flutes.
I'm
Me and
excited.
Dre, the duet, we
I'm
remixed
excited.
it. The flutes, I got the cello. I'm busting it down with the cello. It's crazy.
You're going to get a download from me. I'm interested.
Lena, I wanted to ask you, aside from you being incredibly talented, why has The Chi resonated the way it has? I mean, you guys just coming off a monster season as well.
Thank you. You know, it's so interesting. It's funny you talk about London. When I'm in London, people talk about The Chi to me. They talk about it, and it's such a beautiful feeling. And I think I really wanted to do a show about where I'm from, clearly, but I wanted to say something about who the people of Chicago are. I really wanted to humanize, particularly young black men. That was super important to me because is there violence in Chicago? Yes, I can't ignore that, and I would never deny that. But there's a lot of humanity in Chicago as well. And also, I think people assume that people are born violent, are born with this in their DNA to do illegal things. No, I think sometimes we may not be the product of our environment, but we can be the product of our circumstances. And so what I want to show is like, how do we show up in certain circumstances? And that to me taps into our humanity at home, because you're wondering, what would I do if somebody was offering me a bunch of money and it would improve my life, but might make my safety questionable?
And as a writer, do you even have the seed of an idea on how The Chi ends?
Well, I've been thinking about it because I do want to land a plane.
No, it's not that you do. Eventually,
Yes.
you have to.
I would, yes.
As consumers, you have to do it for us.
Yes,
and
and
that's a very hard thing.
Exactly, because the truth is, I'm also thinking about, and you've been on the TV shows, you know how it goes. I don't want to go out with a whimper, but I think what I want, I do think about legacy, you know, and I think about how do I want to walk off the field, how do I want to walk off the court, how do I want to, what's my last joke, you know what I'm saying? I just really want the ending to resonate because we are in our 6th season, which is not our last season.
It's still so early. Let me tell you something. And
Like,
no,
keep going.
I'm just seriously, it's real early. You know,
I
like,
hear you.
It's real early. 6 seasons, I know it's a lot of material to write. Don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah.
not underestimating the workload.
For sure.
I get it.
You know.
It's a lot of, I'm clear. There's a million stories. Like,
You're right.
You got this.
I mean, like,
got this,
here's
man.
the thing, like
I
this
think
is-
LL just volunteered for your writer's room. That's what I
I know,
heard.
it's like, and first of all, I appreciate that so much coming from you, such an icon, a legend, and that voice is in my head, trust me. But I also have another voice, you know that voice of like, when is it time? Know when to fold them, know when to get out, leave them wanting more.
That's fear.
Okay, here we go.
That's fear.
Is it fear or is it me wanting to make
fear.
sure that I'm
It's
not
fear
walking
because
out?
it's
After
fear.
people are like,
You know,
is that
people-
show still on?
It's
I
fear.
want them to say like, when does the shot come back on?
I'll give
Is
you
the
an
shot still
example.
going?
I bet you any amount of money there was years ago when maybe Bron was like, man, you think I should, you know, because I go out on with a bang. Like, yo, nah. A lot of that is just fear. You don't have to know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to know what's gonna happen to move forward. You take the steps. You take the steps, you go get it. You didn't know what was gonna happen. You was a little boy running around with drawers on, like being Superman, wanting to play in the NFL, watching TV. You didn't know what was gonna happen. Like, you didn't know you was gonna be halfway around the world doing jokes and, you know what I'm saying, coming from where you came from. Like, so I say that to say, there's no limitation. We shouldn't limit ourselves. Don't put a period where there's a comma, you know, in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep going and then figure it out. You will land the plane.
One of the things I find fascinating about people in the public eyes, you guys, is to the audience, you're superhuman, right? I think football players are the greatest example of that. It's like, how's he out with turf toe or whatever? Look, he gets paid how much and blah, 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 blah.
He played through it.
Right, exactly, right? And I think sometimes, you know, athletes specifically don't get that benefit of the doubt that you deal with real life, right? You went through a real life scare with the cancer scare. You still have football in your mind. How'd you deal with that? What was your process?
Do you guys know this story? You should tell the story a little bit, Trent.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I might as well tell. Now, I mean, really, you know, it's funny, you never really know how tough you are till you gotta be. You know what I'm saying? And how strong you are till you ain't got a choice but to be strong, and that's the only option. So for me, just going through the cancer scare, like you said, I did feel somewhat invincible. I was like 7 straight Pro Bowls. You know, I just felt like life was good. You know, me and my boys, we on vacation. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the call, and it started to kind of snowball from there. You know, get a call from a doc, and he's like, you know, I had this mass on my, you know, right inside my hairline, and I used to have to wear my hair kind of high just to hide it, you know, and I was told, you know, from the team doctors that it was a cyst and not to worry about it, so I didn't worry about it and just dealt with it. You know, it wasn't painful or nothing. But eventually, I'm like, hey, I've been looking at this for like 5 years now. I just want it gone, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Every time I go in there, it was never a good time because it was right where my hairline is, my helmet got to be. So you get stitches right there, you can't play for at least a week. So I could never do it during the season. Then, you know, off season, I'm out training. I ain't trying to take a break from that either. So, you know, it was a bit of both of us just kind of like, they was telling me something that I really kind of wanted to hear, that it wasn't nothing. So, you know, fast forward 5 years, I'm finally like, hey, I'm gonna take, you know, right after this game, I'm healthy, I ain't got nothing, no rehab. I'm gonna go last game of the season. After that, I wanna go get this cut off. And so I went and did that, and the doctor that did it was questioning me about it. I'm like, man, I was told it was cyst. He was like, man, I don't think this no cyst. I'm like, bro, it's a cyst, just cut it off. I'm trying to go. Like, I gotta fight the kids, X, Y, and Z. So he's like, all right, you know, and I remember it being really painful, and it wasn't supposed to be because I was really numbed up. You know, so then that kind of like was a red flag a little bit. But I ain't worried about it, got it cut out. We went on our trip. I get a call from the doc. He had a real heavy Indian accent, so he was speaking kind of frantic, and I didn't really understand him. And really, I got like that eerie feeling in my stomach. I'm like, this sounds kind of important, and I really just didn't even want to deal with what it could be, so I didn't even listen to the rest of the voicemail. I'm like, I'm gonna just try to enjoy my time. Obviously, when I get back, the team is calling, hey, we need to go back in. They said it didn't look normal, X, Y, Z. So I'm like, all right, start getting a little worried. So they're like, we're gonna make you a doctor's appointment. By this time, I'm at the Pro Bowl, right? I'm in Orlando with the kids, Disney World, you know. My mom, she's an LVN, so she's a nurse now. So I tell her about it, and she a worrier, so I really didn't want to tell her. So I tell her, and she like, that's interesting, like, when is the doctor's appointment? I'm like, it's Wednesday. She like, what kind of doctor you going to? So I never even thought to even think about it. So I went in my room, and I Googled it, and it said oncologist, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh. So, like, I just like, it's probably 3 o'clock in the evening, I just laid in the bed, kind of just confused, like, damn, I didn't know what was coming next, you know, but I know it's getting serious, because I can hear it in everybody's voice, so, you know, I just kind of start bracing for it. Next week come, we in the doctor's office, it's like 10 doctors in there, you know.
Who went with you, your mom?
My mom, yeah, just me and my mom, and, you know, so they kind of crowd around, they like, we're pretty sure you know why you're here. I'm like, I have no clue why I'm here, so, you know,
You
just
never
put it on me.
revisited the voice message?
No, I didn't. I never even thought to, honestly. But I'm just like, look, doc, just put it on me, man. What's going on? And like, I see this pretty, you know, it's a lot of people in here, and it's like, well, you got this rare form of cancer that, you know, it's like, he said it's like 5%, like 1 in 5 million chance of getting this particular cancer or something like that. It was like really rare. So really, honestly, I couldn't even hear nothing. As soon as he said
After
cancer,
that,
it was
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I'm like, what the?
I just got a chill hearing that.
Yeah. So even every time I hear the word cancer, it's like, you know, it bring that back. But so from there, they like, hey, so how long has it been there? And I'm like, I look at the team doc, cause he was in there. I'm like, I mean,
And this
you
is the
ain't
same
tell
team
him?
doctor that's been there for 5 years.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, you didn't tell him. And he just kind of like, you know, kind of looked down a little bit. So I'm like, it's been like 5 years. And they just like, oh, you know, everybody
It can
had
spread.
that, oh, look, say like, oh, this might be bigger than what we thought. We got to put a board of doctors together. So it took them like 2 days to put all these doctors to come together because they, you know, it's been there so long. They were scared how far it went.
And Trent, at that moment, are you even thinking football? You're thinking life? Like, what's...
At that moment, no, I wasn't thinking football at that moment. But I didn't think that I didn't think my life was in danger. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I wasn't thinking football. I was just thinking more like my kids and stuff, you know? So when they said put a board of doctors together, that was kind of very alarming to me. So, you know, fast forward about a week, they doing all this preparation and stuff. Mind you, I'm going to the doctor like maybe once every 2 days, different appointment. They cutting a piece of my, like literally cutting a piece out every time I go, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm about to get it, you know, taken out. They think that they got the root of it, you know, no big deal. So the surgery is Friday. On Thursday, they like, hey, let's go get an MRI so we can have so we have our real plan you know, in place and know how we supposed to do this and this and that. So we do the MRI. That day, no, it was Wednesday, that Thursday, they called me, and it's like 3 o'clock. And mind you, I'm in Northern Virginia, which is like 45 minutes from DC, so it's not with traffic like an hour. So he like, man, I need you to come in the office. I'm like, office? It's like 3 o'clock. By the time I get there, it should be closed. He like, listen, I don't care what time you get here, I'm gonna be here. And that like basically like made me get butterflies. I'm like, damn, that don't sound good, you know? So my mom, she was watching the kids, and I very conscious about taking them with me to the doctors, because at that time my oldest was been able to read, and you know, I ain't want her seeing and just carrying that burden with her at school every day. So before I knew how in depth it was, you know what I'm saying? So I go and I get in the office, and it's literally just a doctor and a nurse there. Everybody gone. I'm walking. It's dark, you know, and I could tell that the nurse, she didn't really like want to make eye contact. So I'm noticing all this stuff while I'm coming in there. So I'm really, you know, I'm like a ball of nerves. And then I'm waiting on the doc. He finally come. He walk in, and as soon as he started talking, the nurse, her lips started shaking, like she's about to start tearing up. Wow. I'm like, damn, man. He just go on like, you know, I know you love football, and you know, I'm like, look, bro, just tell me what's going on. Yeah, he like, listen, man, you need to not worry about football. You just need to get close to your daughters and like the people you love the most, cause you know it don't look like it's not looking that good. So I'm like,
wow, what the changed? Yeah.
What? I was like, damn, I couldn't even look at. I'm literally just like staring off into space, cause I'm trying to process what he just told me. I'm a 30-year-old man. I feel healthy as possible. He just told me I don't got that long to live. So I honestly.
What he say? Like,
he said, get your affairs in order.
Oof.
That's what he told me. That was word for word.
Oof.
He's like, you gotta get your affairs in order. And I'm like, and instantly, I didn't even think about dying, honestly. I didn't even, like, I knew that would come. That's coming naturally anyway. But I just started thinking, I got all girls. You know what I'm saying? At that time, I had 2 daughters. And I was just thinking, like, damn, I want to walk them down the aisle. I want to send them off to college. I want to see them graduate. I'm like, damn, I don't think I'm gonna make it that long, especially what he's saying. So, really, I don't even know how I got home. Like, I drove an hour to the house, and I swear, I just remember parking the car, and I'm like, damn, I don't even know where my mind was in autopilot. Like, it was just,
Of course.
it was like an out-of-body experience. And then after that, that's when everything started to ramp up. They flew me to Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Down in Northwestern, and they went and they was like, they did a scan. They was like, all right, so they thought that the tumor, because the tumor sat here. So it looked like from the MRI that it had metastasized through to my brain, to my skull and stuff. So in their mind, they're like, it's pretty much over once that happened. So go to Chicago. Luckily, they have like this 3D imaging, and they could see cancer cells, and they said the tumor was attached to my skull, which was the scary part, because it had been there so long that this tumor has roots. It's not like a mass, right? It's like tentacles, like an octopus. So, that was like spreading. So it looked, on the surface, it looked like a small, what would be a little bigger than a mosquito bite. But, when you look at the surgery picture, it was like this big, you know what I'm saying? I lost like 30% of my scalp, so.
Damn.
But, like you said, when they looked at it, they said, my mom was like, look, y'all done been sending them too many doctors. We getting this, we getting this, we getting this. So I want them to go to MD Anderson, which is like #1. Like, we want to go there. So, and call MD Anderson, they like, fast we can get you in is like 10 days. And they're like, well, we ain't got 10 days. It could metastasize tomorrow. You could take 3 days, but we don't know. We really you can't take that chance. So I flew to Houston, they couldn't get me in. I had to shave my head that night, flew back, and then that's when I underwent 3 surgeries.
Where you had the surgeries at?
In Chicago.
In Chicago, at Northwestern?
Yeah. Northwestern.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, man, that's amazing.
Glad you're here, brother.
Oh yeah, no, I'm blessed,
How
bro.
did you, because I know this, so now you got to go back to Washington and look at that same trainer who let that thing, kept telling you it was nothing.
Yeah.
How do you walk back in there and look at it?
I honestly,
And we've seen you, we've seen you push around a lot of guys and punch Richard Sherman and shit. So,
but nah, honestly, man, I'm a realist anyway. I understand the business. Like, it was
he just wants y'all on the field, man.
Yeah,
Right.
and
That's
again,
some scary
it was a rare form of cancer. It was a cancer that 80% of cancer doctors don't even see. So there's no way this team doc who's looking at knees and ankles and you got the flu or whatever. There's no way he could make an eyesight determination on what that was. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, I don't think it benefited me by holding a grudge against him. You know, I was more so focused on the blessing. Like, I'm here. Like, I can go hold my kids at night. Like, I'm walking through these hallways at this hospital, and you see people wheeling their parents around, or parents wheeling their kids around, and you know that the end is near. You know, and I just got this great prognosis that, you know, I got a lot of the big surgery, but I'll be fine. Like, I can, you know, my kid's gonna have me around, and like, I kind of had this survivor's remorse a little bit. I felt guilty. Like, I've had this, you know, I've been privileged to be in this position, to be able to live my dream, and then I go through this cancer battle, and I get by on like basically would have been a 1% chance of it not getting through to my brain. So it's like what did I do to be so lucky or deserve this? You know what I'm saying? So I had to deal with that, but you know, just being able to take advantage of being able to have my family around, my kids around, like that helped me get back in the mind, just saying, hey, I went through an obstacle, I was blessed to get over it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Not stop looking in the rearview mirror, like, you know.
Changed how you live and
yeah,
think
it changed me 100%. Like, it was one of the worst things you can imagine going through, but it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Wow.
Because it made me appreciate not only my career, but it made me appreciate life. You know, and when you're young and, you know, you got a lot, you take for granted. You feel like you're untouchable in a sense.
Wow.
But how does it affect you now, what you dealt with now, like any game, but specifically the Super Bowl, you lose it. Does it have an effect on how you deal with losing and going forward from that?
You know, that's the biggest loss you can take. You know, but at the end of the day, you look at it for what it is. Like I said, I'm a realist. Like, was 2 teams left. Out of 32 teams, 2 teams fighting for that 1 trophy. Like, I mean, yeah, it sucks, but you got to look back and say, at the end of the day, it was a successful season. You know, like, I used to think, just get me to the Super Bowl. I don't care if we win or lose. I just want to feel that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, I had never won a playoff game in the first 10 years of my career.
Right,
so
right.
to even think about the Super Bowl, NFC Championship, I'm like, I just want to feel it. I done put so much into this game. You know, I done sacrificed so much.
Okay.
I haven't felt the pinnacle yet, you know, and I just, you know, I wanted to be there. I just wanted to experience it. And then when you get there, you understand it's just another football game. Now you want to win that game as bad as ever. Now me getting there wasn't really good enough at the time. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think I take it in stride, man. Like, I done had obstacles, and I think that's just another one of them, man.
You know, it's one beautiful part of your story is your mother's love, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, a mother's love is something else.
Yeah, nah.
Like, your mother loved you. Like, I could feel the love.
I could
when
feel
you
it
was
for
talking
sure.
about it, I could feel your mom's
Oh,
loving
yeah.
you, B.
But did you
Even-
tell her that's the only part? When you left the house that day and they called you and the nurse was quivering and your mom was watching the kids, did you tell her you had got that car or did you just leave?
Nah, I just left.
So
And when
she
I
didn't
came,
know what you was going to do?
She didn't know. She didn't know. When I got home, like I said, she was there in the house, and that was the hardest part about coming home, because we had been told everything was gonna be okay, and now I gotta come tell my mom that, hey, they just told me that I don't got long to live, and like having to call my dad and like tell him that over the phone, that was tough. Really telling everybody, that was pretty tough. Like, you know, I didn't tell a lot of people, but you know, my really, really close circle, I had to express, because it was a lot to hold, you know what I'm saying?
For sure, that's a
Pivoting a little bit, we talked Super Bowl. There was a lot made of the overtime thing. The rules. Did you personally know of the rule? There was some confusion, it seemed. The team didn't know. What's your take on it?
Yeah,
Or your experience, I should say.
I personally knew because of, you know, it was a deal the year before with Josh Allen and that whole deal. So to be real with you, bro, I ain't gonna lie. After that game, I hadn't logged into Instagram, Twitter, nothing. I've been basically
checked out.
Yeah, I checked out. I just need to.
Good for you.
You know, like we was out there, we was exposed. You just took your worst loss in front of everybody. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you got pride. We prideful. So I just had to take a break, take a step back, just make sure I'm good.
But Lena, before we get you out of here, I know you got to run. cannabis brand. Talk a little bit about that. That's very dope to hear.
Oh yeah, well, you know, we definitely like to show on all of our shows people smoking weed. Like, it's a piece of our culture that I'm not afraid to show, and also to take shame away from that as well. And so my first strain is called First Draft, which is also a play on, you know.
Sativa?
Yeah, it's a sativa, but it's also a hybrid. You know what I mean? So it keeps the body calm, but the brain working. And you know, and we want to do a play on the fact that I am a writer. So the first time you write the script, it's the first draft. It's been an exciting journey, and I also look forward to it being legal everywhere. I think we'll get there eventually. But it's just really nice to see how far that journey has come as well. You talk about journeys. I mean, think about where we were 10 years ago and to where we are now and where we're going. So I just think it's important for us to get involved in that business and to have fun with it.
Love that.
Yeah.
Lena, we're gonna let Lena go.
I gotta go right.
You're going to right.
Go right.
Thanks, man. Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Y'all have a good rest of the
do
conversation.
you
Later.
drink when you're on stage?
No, I make
You
it
go on
habit.
stage totally sober.
Yeah, I like to be sober. It makes me more fresh, more sharp. It's weird because I've done shows before and I've had a drink like beforehand, and sometimes they've been my best shows. But I don't want that to feel like that was what made me feel like I had a good show. Do you
But
know
it
what
makes
I
you
mean?
more loose, right?
It does, but then the habit is like you can be too loose with the
For
tongue.
sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? I always say this as a comic. I was like, as much as crowd work is fun and you get to, you know, you can make some material out of someone in the audience. You also remember that at the end of the show, there's nothing stopping that person coming up to you and saying, let me talk to you for a second. Come round
Let me
the
holler
corner,
at you, my man.
That's happened before, man.
Has that happened to you?
Yeah, that's happened before, man.
In London?
Yeah, it happened in London
What
once.
happened? Tell us what happened.
So basically, I used to have this part of the show where I used to say, listen, and the audience would be standing there. I said, listen, before I start the show, I'm not gonna make fun of anyone in the audience. So I would point out someone. I say, let's say, for example, your name is Clarissa, yeah? And I say, chlamydia. Yeah, you all got the joke, yeah? So everyone got the joke that like, I'm gonna say, chlamydia, yeah, your name, but it's Clarissa. So that's the joke. Audience laughs. I'm carrying on with the show. And I see her boyfriend. He's not laughing at nothing.
The whole show?
The whole show.
You eyeing him the whole
So
show?
the show's
He's probably
going well.
burning like a mother.
I'll never forget it. The whole show's going well. She's laughing, but he's just like this throughout the whole show. Now, as a comic, when you're on stage, you know when someone's laughing. You're like, this person's really not
Teddy,
laughing.
what's up, bro? Come on
Do you
in,
know
bro.
what I mean?
Come on in, bro. What's up, bro?
Yeah,
It's
what
Teddy,
up,
bro.
what up?
You're jumping in at a great
Where am I
time.
here?
Yes, you're right there.
Okay.
Go ahead. So finish the story. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I've done the show. The show was fine. The show had finished now, and I remember the show finishing, and you know, you get paid after your show. This is like cash in hand days when I was still doing the open mic circuit. This guy's paid me, and I can still see this guy waiting around like this. And I didn't. You just know. Let me just leave. There's no reason for me to talk to him. 2 weeks later, I promise you not, I'd done this show. I'll never forget, the show had this L-shaped room. And there's one set of people here, they're eating food and they're not really laughing, but the other set, they don't have the food option. So they're just normal comedy goers and they're laughing. But I can notice as I'm performing that there's someone not laughing in this section where everyone don't have food. So I'm like, that guy looks familiar, man. He looks so familiar. And it's the same guy who was at the show previously. And again, I'm just like, my mind is rattled because I'm like, these are ain't laughing, they're eating food, but these are having a fun time. But this particular guy ain't laughing. So I've left the show and you're in between these double doors and I walk through the door and he comes in, I look at him, he looked at me and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, no, that.
What's up?
The pleasantries.
No. That is hilarious. No. All right.
So I'm trying to do the whole, you was at the show. He's like, listen, I'll never forget this. He goes, listen, I seen you at the show 2 weeks ago and you disrespected my girlfriend. And I'm trying to now explain. I said, no. The joke is, no. That. Yeah, my heart is beating because it's never happened to me before. My heart is beating. And he goes, listen, if you ever disrespect my girlfriend like that ever again, I'm gonna cave in your face, right? So then again, I'm trying to explain. I'm like, no, but what is? He goes, listen, explanations. And I'll never forget this. He goes, listen, I think you're hilarious. Keep doing what you're doing and good luck with the rest of your career. And I left out the door And I was in this weird situation where I was like, that's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. But at the same time, I'm not gonna make anyone the butt of my jokes ever again.
So you stopped?
Because he was so calm. And I always say
calm.
the scariest man is the calmest man. But comedy's like that. And you gotta remember as well, in the black community, the way we go out to experience a comedy show is different. I've always found, because I've done different audiences. I've done white audiences, I've done, or, you know, audience that you can tell they're very wealthy. Do you know what I mean? But you can tell sometimes you do a show that's in the hood. I remember doing a show once, I seen this guy sitting in front, I said, what's going on, my guy? I see you, big silver chain. This guy humbled me, he's like, big man, do the jokes. And again, I was frightened for my life. I started
That's a good laugh.
Listen,
Do the jokes.
Stick to the jokes, bro.
listen, I started talking about the weather for a reason. But you learn these things, man. In comedy, you learn, man. That's why I always say, understand the environment that you're in. Do you know what I mean?
Teddy, he talked about funny is funny. Like if you make people laugh. When you first came out, the first thing I seen you covering Marvin Gaye, right? So now it was like so interesting to me to see you covering who I think the greatest voice ever. Marvin Gaye is the greatest voice ever. And to black people, Marvin Gaye is like, there's like Jesus and Marvin Gaye. Like he made what's going on. He made sexual healing. He's the only artist who could do both. But were you all worried about black people accepting you singing soul and covering Marvin Gaye?
Absolutely. I will always say that, but my biggest thing is it's like, that's not for me to take or tell this story that's not mine, or I'm here to pay homage to the greatest that's ever done it.
And when you create, do you even think about genres of music, or you just like, this is how I feel? Meaning, do you think, because your music is soulful, sometimes it's a little rock, sometimes a little
Pop,
whatever,
country.
pop. Do you think about that, or are you like, I'm just making the songs that I like?
I found that in my time of trying to make music, I find that I've always like kind of gotten blocked or blocked the creative act when I've been like, oh, this is too rock, or this is too soul, or this is too much of this. I try now just to do whatever feels like it's asking for, you know, and get out of the way of the creative act happening. I think there's something in the air that's just falling down when you're in a room writing, you know, and you just get the hell out of the way and let it happen.
Do you think genres even matter anymore?
I don't think so, because what I was so fortunate with my song "Lose Control" that hit that point was
amazing record.
It was working. Thank you, man. It was working on country stations, and it was working on pop stations, and R&B and rhythmic stations too, and rock stations. I think a good song still works, and people are hungry for tunes, man.
Yes, and the idea of like being discovered on social, were you going for that? Like, or were you just doing this thing I love? Were you like, I want to be discovered, so I'm gonna put these things out?
Well, I never thought that covers would be the thing. It just truly started. So 2019, June 25th, it was 10 years that Michael Jackson had passed away, you know, and I just wanted to put a cover up of Rock With You on to just kind of pay homage to that and say, man, salute to the GOAT, you know, and we woke up the next day and it had like stupid amount of, I think it had like 10,000 views on it, and we were like, bro, we're getting out tonight, 10,000 views. Absolutely. Yeah, once we made it, you know, and but I think once it finally like started getting to like the 500,000 mark, it was just like, I found that was the funny thing that has worked for me because of social media. I think is the gimmick of that I sound this way, but I look this way, and it kind of helped a lot. But I think when people first saw like 1 million views on it and see me in a camo T-shirt with a bunch of face tattoos singing "Rock With You," I think people were like, either this is actually good or this is going to be
hilarious, exactly.
And it ended up being both for me.
Yes.
So I think I'm just, you know, happy for the gimmick. I'm working the gimmick, baby. You know what I mean?
For sure. You were discovered on social too, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, social media is where I am today, really. I guess it's probably the same as you. Like, when you find that the thing that goes viral, you're like, this, I didn't mean for this to happen, but it's happened, and then someone shares it, and then it might be, you know, a famous person shares it, and then again, and then you just see this count of followers going up. But it's almost like, the great thing is, it's amazing for your career because you're getting all these new followers, but you don't have any money. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still in retail.
So you had blown up and we're still working retail.
So yeah, so Joe Malone was the first retail, and then Levi was the last place I was at. So my numbers are going up. People are sharing my stuff. Like Drake started following me and stuff. You gotta remember, like, from being in South London, my friends lost their mind. My friends are like, you made it now, you know? I'm like, bro, it's just a follower. But I think the beautiful thing is with social media, it's a heightened reality.
For sure.
Do you know what I mean? So people assuming that I've got money, or they're like, oh, Drake follows you now. You guys must DM each other. I'm like, no, why would I? I wouldn't do that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to unfollow. Do you know what I mean?
I'm trying to keep it.
Yeah, I don't want that. But then I needed to turn my what was happening into saying to people, look, I'm a stand-up comic. This is what I do. As much as people like the videos and it's all cool, this is what I'm actually good at doing. And it's the same thing you're saying, bro, like people, I think what I found is people had seen the videos and they're like, are you funny though? Because the videos are funny. It's a minute of comedy. It's like fast food. But it's almost like, can you make a real mac and cheese from the start? Yeah.
And
As
Mo,
a comic,
Mo, does
do you know what I
that
mean?
process change? Like you're on tour, right? Like
Yeah,
in the
man.
moment
Yeah,
tour.
yeah.
Are you preparing differently for this tour you're on?
I think for tour show, I have to be more sharp. I think if I'm just doing 10, 20 minutes at the club, I can mess around and have fun. But I know if people have paid good money on a Saturday, you know, women get their hair done and their nails done, the man them got a trim. I know I've got to put on the best show because you're like, you know, you bring your woman out, you know, you got a babysitter. No one wants to see me messing around. So I think when you're on tour, it's even more important, especially coming over here, because people are like, you made the trip over here. I finally got to see you. And what I realized here, you guys travel. Like meeting people that come from Florida, Arizona, that have flown in, that have flown in. So I need to put on the best show possible now. Do you know what I mean? I can't really mess around, but that's what we do with the work in progresses. You know, I do a work in progress show to iron out and make sure the show is pinpoint. Because the minute when people come to something that they paid good money for and they say, oh, it's a shame we waited 2 years for this and it wasn't, you was just on stage asking, you know, who's in the house? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want that feeling, do you know what I mean?
You know, as we've been touring since the pandemic is over, and we're starting from 2000s and going to 3000s, you have to do every step of that way to get those into those seats, and really like the touring business now is so different than what the music business is, and they're two separate entities altogether. And I see so many kids that'll have a hit or a smash on TikTok, and when they're having a #1 record, they're trying to sell a tour, and they're going out and they can't sell 300 tickets, you know, and they got a #1 record. Or worse, they skip all these steps and never do the 300 caps, then the 500. They never do that, and then next thing you know, they got the #1 hit right now, and they're doing these arenas, and then 2 years later, they can't sell a ticket to save their lives.
You used to be a football player.
Yeah.
And then there was a teacher who told you go do music.
Yeah.
Is that because they knew you weren't gonna be as big as Trent?
Well, yeah. I'm 5'7", my dog. Yeah, I haven't worn my goddamn platforms in here because I try to look like a 5'9" snagging these bad boys though. So.
Do you still speak to that teacher, Teddy?
Yeah, actually, man. What's even crazier? That we played in Birmingham, Alabama, like a week or two ago, and this teacher I had in 4th grade, Miss Berry. So she was like a sergeant in the military, and she used to tell us after class, you know, like after recess, if everybody shut the up and just does their workbook, she put in greatest hits of Al Green for us. And
in 4th grade?
In 4th grade, dude, we're all like 8 or 9 years old.
That's in Georgia, not in Ohio. We did not get Al Green.
Well, this is the first time I ever heard soul music.
The teacher said, shut the f up?
Well, she didn't say that. I'm
Oh, okay.
paraphrasing.
But 4th grade, she played Al Green. That's awesome.
Dog. And what's
That's
crazy,
awesome.
dude,
Wow.
these 9-year-olds are all in here like they know about heartbreaking. Just like, oh yeah, like we all, everybody was just crying. Dog. I remember going home to my dad. I was like, dude, I heard this song, Dad. It's like, and I the first time I heard that, I'm so tired of being alone. I was like, Dad, what is this? I didn't say either then, but you know, I was just like, Dad, you know, what is this? I had never heard soul music before. I grew up, my mom's side was like, you know, Pentecostal pastor, so it was, you know, like, and not the good kind of gospel, like.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Like, you know, Jesus culture, you know what I mean? Like,
of course, yeah.
So, I mean, when I first heard that, I was like, Dad, you know, he put me on to Keith Sweat after that, Marvin Gaye, and all sorts of cool. I was like, yo, this is music right here.
That's 4th grade Al Green. That's the type of class I want my kids to get.
Yeah, man,
for sure.
And so she came to the show not too long ago because I talk about her all the time in interviews and stuff. I'm like, where is she now? What is she doing now? You know, is she still alive? Is she ever hear me talking about her? And she's standing in the front row, and one of these people had Miss Berry's here, you know. And I brought her back and got to see her, and we took a picture and gave her my number, and it was cool because you never know what you're doing to kids, you know, like you never know.
For sure, you never know what they're gonna turn into.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So shout out to Miss Berry. With that, we're a wrap, fellas. Thank you guys.
especially when I done a show in New York. You know, there's a big Caribbean population there, and I'm talking about, where's my Jamaicans in the room? Everyone's like, bop, bop, bop. And I'm like, why we got guns? We're not in no war in history, but we're doing this.